Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the World Championship Game 3 between Gukesh Domaraju and Ding-Gukesh. After playing 1 e4 in Game 1, Gukesh is going to once again, or not once again. Let's see. We are yet to start, guys. We're yet to start. Starts in 40. Oh, I'm too early. Starts in 40 minutes. What I'm gonna talk about now for so long? Oof. You always think somehow it's gonna take time, but starting the stream is 1 second. You just press the button and it starts. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm prematurely ready. Let me get one more browser so I can see the live game and tell you what's going on. What's going on? Game 3. Let's see this one. Wait, Game 3.
He might surprise us again in the opening. That's been his strategy so far.
Yeah. We see some footage. Wait, it's old footage maybe. No, I'm seeing the wrong video, sorry. Let me check. Where's the FIDE? FIDE, they have Epic. They have 2 streams. They have 1 stream with just the game and 1 stream with oh, but the game stream is not yet starting because the game is not yet starting. Yeah, 15 more. It's stream starts in 2 minutes, so that's good. It's good. I'm gonna put it over here somewhere. Yep. How are you, chat? How's my chat doing? How's chat doing? Is chat trolling me? Is chat, are you guys trolling me? What's up, you guys? Okay, let's see the seriously. Yeah, let's take a look. Another French or e45. No, you know, Mr. Lamy, Grandmaster Lamy thinks French or e45. So this is also what I was thinking. But Nepo, he said he played the match as well himself. He said that he thinks that Ding might be facing d4, so Gukesh might go for d4. It's a thing apparently. It could be, but of course you always have that thing that Gukesh, he has a certain plan ready for e5 that he wants to execute, and he was preparing it for game 1, so he now might just carry it over to game 3, and that's the easiest. At the same time, he might keep it for later, and he might give his team more time to look into French, for example. Although nowadays, yeah, it's more Karpov-Kasparov time to give your team more time. I mean, come on, guys, you had 2 nights. What the hell? You are there with 200 people. You should be able to find some ideas, yeah. So maybe that, because in the back in the day, of course, Kasparov, Karpov, and all that, they were. Gary was spending like sometimes he would have his seconds work for a week, yeah, until coming back to the move that he wanted to play. So it's possible to go d4 as well. I mean, I believe the chance is very high in modern chess. I'm absolutely convinced. That in modern chess, Gukesh has prepared more than e4. I'm absolutely sure. He's prepared d4 as well. I'm absolutely sure in that. It would be insane if he only prepared e4 in modern environment where you can work so quickly with such good engines and so many people that Gukesh has in his team. It would be crazy to only prepare e4 for the match. It would be absolutely crazy. We've got, by the way, the live feed, so the game is starting in 10 minutes. The players are not yet at the board. I mean, he will play e4 at some point for sure. Whether it will be today, I don't know. d4. The thing though in d4 is that maybe another surprise awaits. Maybe Ding had prepared a surprise for e4 and for d4. Because d4 is harder to really play a surprise as such, but for example, coming from Ding, even opening like a Slav is a surprise. That's what Nepo mentioned. I don't think Ding played much QGA either. Grunfeld also would be a small surprise from Ding. Basically, Ding the only non-surprise would be this, because that's what Ding played. And Katlan gives a check and goes back. That would be a non-surprise. And here he goes c5 for bishop before or whatever, bishop 7 or c6 or knight d7 or dc. or a6 or a5, h6 or g6 or knight e4. But not bishop d6. Bishop d6 is not a good move here. I do think e4 is the most obvious one. I do think e4. I don't think e4 still. I do think e4 still. By the way, at some point I'm gonna get an important call, important phone call, which I might have to pick up. So please beware. I'll go briefly. I'll give my phone over to my wife, but I will have to pick that up. Gukesh playing for win. What's wrong with bishop d6 there? Everyone is asking. To be honest, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure. I suspect the bishop g5 is a blow. I suspect. I think c5 is also nice because I think you get some sort of a tempo, but knight can come to c6 though. But I think you get a tempo, and also bishop g5 is very unpleasant here. Though of course after bishop e7 black is very solid, so it should also be fine. But I think if you want to surprise someone, knight e4 is a safer bet. Or g6 maybe not, I don't know. But in any case, that's d4 for you. e4, the thing is that French will come as a surprise, but Gukesh will have something ready for it, clearly. But he's not. It's again the case of our disc challenges me for bullet. It's crazy. Although there is some point. No, but it's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, he prepared better for the French, of course, of course. Coming from Ding, actually the Petrov would be a surprise as well. I think Rapport likes Petrov. He liked some Petrov. I think Ding is much more an NC6 guy. So I think Petrov is actually very much on the cards. Curious if Guy Sir has they have spent a lot of time on Petrov, don't worry. They did. Or they prepared something else, which is not a knight f3, like f4, for example, King's Gambit. So we'll see, we'll see. e4, e6, f4, not good, not good, not good. Now, if you want to make a side move, I think somebody played queen e2 here. In the global league, somebody good, like someone like Yu Yang. No, this was not Yang. Was that Rapport? Was it Rapport? Somebody good played queen e2. Can we see games here or not? Yeah, anywho. I think that Gukesh should take it easy actually today, a little bit. Should take it a little bit easy. I think he should try to play for a win without burning bridges actually. Strange as it sounds. I think burning bridges was for game 1 and didn't work. Now I think he shouldn't burn bridges. Should just play normal next couple games. And then burn bridges a bit later. You can win without burning bridges too. This house was built on playing for a win without burning bridges. That's what this house was built on. And it's fine. It's fine. You don't have to burn bridges. Especially against Ding. I don't like how Ding played yesterday. You know when you play a slightly better position as if you are slightly worse? The moment you're going to actually get slightly worse, oof, bad things are going to happen. I didn't like Ding's handling of position yesterday. Ding was a bit too passive yesterday. Immediately took the draw when he could. Everybody thought white was better. Carlson said white's better. My computer said white's better. I mean, what more do you need? Bet is on e4, e5. e4, e5, yeah, but Aaron, let me. Do you dare to say then Petrov or no Petrov? Because I have a strong hunch this Petrov is coming. Strong hunch. I didn't want to say it earlier, not to ruin Ding's surprise value. But Gajewski is watching the stream and total panic like, oh no, the Petrov's coming. Of course, I should have told him. Nah, Petrov is kind of obvious. Petrov is kind of obvious. Though Ding has never played it. Offbeat Spanish. But don't you think it will be Italian? Don't you think it will be Italian? So the Spanish Italian is here. So you've got also, by the way, the Scotch. Never dismiss the Scotch. But Rapport is going for himself for g3, but it's okay. It's not for Gukesh. Bishop c4 Italian, bishop b5 Spanish. That's a big thing. Yesterday, by the way, Ding played bishop c4, which is Italian. Bishop b5 is Spanish. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have this. Bishop g5 Italian is a little bit. Yeah, I mean, Gukesh has played it in the European Club Cup. I mean, if he took it so seriously, White played in the Club Cup, you know, against Pechak, then preserve some surprise value. I don't think he's gonna play it simply. I don't think it's coming. I don't think it's coming simply. C4 possible. No, not happening though. C4 is not happening. C4, it's there's been some C4 hype at some point, but I think that that hype is now E4 is the hype, the new hype. There is some Nimzo hype as well always, but the real hype is 1e4. E4 is hype now. Do you think there will be a winner today? No, so I somehow have a feeling it's gonna be a draw. I have such a feeling somehow, and I think it's fine also. I think it's fine. I think Gukesh should. I think he should change the strategy actually. From what I've seen in the first two games, I think new strategy should be there. Play without much risk. Try to play long game with a small advantage. New strategy. And see if that works for a couple rounds. If it doesn't work, fine. Then back to going all out. But somehow Ding was playing much better when he came after him than when he didn't. I think Ding, he's like this. He's kind of bracing for impact. He's like this. He's going like this, like, and he's waiting for you to jump. But when you don't jump, he's standing like this. He's standing like this the whole time, basically. He's standing like this. And when you jump on him, then he's ready. He has his teeth clenched, so that when you jump on him, the teeth don't bite the tongue. That's very annoying. Like, so the tongue is at the top. Clench the teeth. And he's waiting for Gukesh to jump. And Gukesh jumps, and he's ready. He's like, you know. So when you don't jump, he's like, and no one's jumping. And he's like, imagine standing like this for 2 hours and nobody jumping at you. Very annoying. Did he play d4? Did he play d4? Wait. No, but I didn't play d4. I see them there on the broadcast. No, d4 is there on the board. Maybe it's a move of maybe it's this move of ceremonial first move. No, guys, chill. It's ceremonial first move, I think. No, it is on the board though. There's no more ceremonial. Ding is chilling a little bit, but he has to make a move. Knight f6, knight f3. So maybe some sort of a London. Nepo, you know, Nepo. He played. These people who played matches, they know something that we don't. They really know something. They take it much more. They have much more deeper thinking. I think London will come. They have much deeper thinking. Oh no, c4. What was this? c3, c4. Let me see how he executed it. No, he executed it firmly. Interesting order. Carlson did the same. You know why he did this? Carlson did it so that against g6 he can play knight d2. And against d5 he was going back to c4. This Carlson move order. e6, cd. Oh, that is actually a Carlson system. This is a Carlson system. I'll explain you the point after we get the first two moves. No, he didn't do a tile with c3, c4. No, I was wondering the same. It's a chess.com board did it. He just played c4 firmly. He didn't do a tile with the c6, c5 thing. Yeah, Carlson system. I'm gonna explain you everything, guys, in a moment. I just want to see where it ends, the blitzing. Just want to see the blitzing end. I didn't predict the opening, but Nepo, he said that d4 might come. And time and again, people who play World Championship matches, they know something that we don't. It's something to think about. When I'm going to be playing a World Championship match, I'm going to ask someone who played it. I'm going to say, like, tell me what's going to happen. Tell me what's going to happen. And that person will be like, I believe Gukesh will surprise you. Let me ask Christian. This will happen. Ding is chilling. If Ding will chill a bit now, I'm going to explain you what the opening is about. Ding chilling. Yeah, I'm going to explain you, I think. Okay, it's time. So, what used to be the main line of d4 is move knight c3 here. Beautiful move. Now, at some point, the main line was Queen's Gambit decline with bishop e7, after which you can, of course, take, but nobody did take, so took so early. Then Rogozin became highly popular as well, and also the same is Slav. Now, against all of these moves, white can take cd, and black will have to take ed. Even after c6, cd, black takes ed. So there'd be no point to go knight 3. Would be no point to take before knight 3. But the thing is, at some point the Vienna was an attempt to equalize dc e4 and bishop b4, but it was not so simple either. But then this new trend began with c5, cd, and not even knight d5, which was a thing too, but cd4. And it leads to, the main line leads to an endgame, which looks better for white. Now I was pausing here because I think I was trying to think of the chronology. I think the king e8 was the old way. Sorry, no, this is the old way. This is the old way. I get confused. This is the old way. Yeah, this was the old way, and this endgame was there, and they were suffering. And not even actually, this was new. At some point, somebody came up with this. This was new, and then they pick up the spawn, and white is a bit better because these pawns are weak. But then Simon Williams, of all people, no, but actually many other people as well, came up with this line, which looks much nicer for white. But somehow, strong computers have sort of found ways to equalize here for black, and it became a very big line, which to this day remains a very big line. And the thing is, it's not an amazing line because black is suffering everywhere, of course, here. But it's so simplified that you might, it might just end in a draw without you getting a lot of chances. And when you want to play for a win and you are down in the match, yeah, then this is a little bit of a problem. So then Carlson started playing this order. Now Ding played c6, which is the most universal move. Queen c2 happened. You can also play bishop b4 transposing to Rogozin. You can also play bishop e7 transposing to Gukesh-Ding. But you have basically avoided the c5 line, because now after c5, it's like that after c5 cd, black went ed. So you avoided the cd option. The issue with this order, though, is that you've done it so prematurely that now after c6, the bishop is ready to come out. And this bishop is the problem in this structure. The structure is called the Carlson structure. So these two pawns against these two pawns. This one eventually will end up there once the bishop gets out. And this Carlson structure, it's named after... one second. Yeah, so yeah, I told you I was getting an important call. I'm gonna get one more important call and then I'll be good. Short call, I hope. So the issue is that you took so early that you already clarified the situation. Now what happened back in the day is that they would wait a bit with that. So for example, yeah, I mean, let me think how even to demonstrate it. Because even here they weren't taken yet. In fact, they were only taken move like that. So they would take now and then the knight blocks the bishop. So this is when they would take. But now they're so desperate that they start taking immediately. c6. Bishop is ready to come out. And here there are a few things, a few different ways to play. So you have to accept the fact that bishop comes out. There's nothing to do about it. You have to go here or allow it. So in fact, Carlson just allows it. just allows it and just plays on, chases the bishop like that or like that, or even trades it frankly and then plays on. Still, at least you get this pawn structure. So once the pawn structure is stable, it means once it's stable, it means there's not going to be many trades. So you won't be able to force a draw with black. Yeah, you have to play out the game. All this, it's not a closed pawn structure, but it's a fixed pawn structure. It's a fixed one. There's no pawns touching each other that can trade each other. And if you ever try that with c5, then you isolate this this pawn, which is again an issue for you. It's not a symmetry anymore. So this fixed pawn structure gives white a lot of, and black as well, a lot of chances to play on forever. So Carlson played bishop f4. Queen c2, the issue with queen c2, so it would be amazing, you stop bishop f5. The issue is that black can just play g6. And you can't stop bishop f5. The point of queen c2 is that you argue that g6 is a small weakness. Now, for example, in certain lines, let's say after h3, how do I demonstrate it? Let's say bishop e7 first. You can come here, or even better demonstration, perhaps in a position like this, for example, you get it with some order. There is even this option of okay, just to demonstrate it, even an option to target this pawn, and sometimes even sack this exchange and go for attack. It's sort of a thing potentially. So you provoke the weakness of g6. Now, in fact, we've already got g6. And we've got h3. We've got h3. H3 is a multi-purpose move. Now, first of all, you want to make sure sometimes that after bishop f4, knight h5, you have a retreat. That's one idea. Another idea, more relevant perhaps, is that after bishop coming to f5, which eventually lands there, you move the queen out, and then you can target the bishop with g4, and your h3 has already prepared it. And if the bishop goes here, then it's a bit of a passive bishop staring at its own pawns. It's not a problem for black, but it's a passive bishop. Now this position is very, very unclear because you've played h3, g4 so early. Black could target it with h5. For example, if you go h5, you go g5, the pawn structure becomes very fixed on the king side. And maybe if black gets to castle, the king will be very safe there because you can't open these files. They're kind of locked up. So there's that, but at the same time you've grabbed space. Now, for example, you control this square, so e5 square now forever yours because f6 will always be taken by g takes, and you've grabbed some space, so you control some squares. And also, in theory, you could sometimes sacrifice in if white does somehow keep the queens and black castle short. So there are some ideas, but all of that is in the air right now. After h3, Ding is thinking. Now this is not new. I believe this is how Kramnik played. I think Kramnik-Nepo blitz game happened here. Although I might be wrong. I might be wrong, and they might have included these two moves. Bishop f4, bishop e7. They might have. In fact, let me check that. Let me check if they did. Yeah, I mean, I know these systems, but I must say that still to remember these little move orders, it is challenging. It is challenging. That's 3c6. Let me see. Queen c2, g6. Kramnik-Nepo is actually h3. Yeah, it's actually that. Yeah. No, this is actually Kramnik-Nepo, Kramnik-Regaisi. Yangi Shirov. Curious if Arjun. No, Arjun cannot be in the team of Gukesh because I guess they are competitors. Yeah, I think the Indian kids don't work with each other, basically. I think they belong to different teams. Actually, this what I showed you, this is actually exactly that game of Kramnik and Nepo. Actually, Kramnik-Regaisi also was a game, and Arjun went for this, which is very, very logical. Very, very logical. Let me put a copy actually just to check this. I think this is not supposed to be accurate for black, but I just want to make sure that Kramnik played it the best way. Somebody asked me if I know a 3-year-old prodigy Anish. Yeah, I definitely know. I'm in the know. Computer says, by the way, it's equal. Computer says it's equal. So Kramnik has played this. He went bishop f4. It's sort of equal. apparently. So what if I take on b3? Probably then it's not equal anymore. In fact, this engine is probably good enough here. Let me not waste resources. Knight d2. It's just trapped or what? Oh yeah, this is just trapped. It's just trapped. Yeah, so you can't take. That's sort of the idea. Nepo just went bishop e6. And I was talking about this position. Yeah, queen c2, maybe keep the queens. This is what Gukesh is hoping for. Curious if h5. Actually, knight g5 is very strong. That's sort of what I was wondering too. Look at how interesting it can get. Bishop f4 takes long castle. Oh, this is what Gukesh would be dreaming about. Computer approving it too. Now, h5 is premature. It's a long-term idea. A little bit premature. Always knight g5. In fact, you never go h5 g5 probably. That's probably a very big achievement for black. Even knight e4, but even if I went here, it would be good for black. Interesting. Bishop f5, queen b3 happened. Queen b6 has to happen, I believe. Although computer says queen c7 too, but it's so tempting to go queen b6. Yeah, Kramnik. Is Kramnik on the team of Gukesh? No. Is he though an icon? Yes, he is. Has he inspired the team of Gukesh? Yes, he did. Kramnik played many amazing ideas over the years. This is one of them. So Kramnik has inspired them. I believe this particular idea is Kramnik's idea. Though I think it's inspired by some Ryazantsev ideas. So Ryazantsev used to tinker with these positions. This is a famous Ryazantsev idea. Ryazantsev would get a slightly better version of this, I think. He would get such a version. But there's a funny move here actually. So you go bishop e7 move earlier, and now you go bishop d6. Trying to remember how it goes exactly. Yeah, go bishop d6, quite funny, yeah. So it's funny, you go bishop d6 here, and point is that after bishop g5, because the pawn is on h3, you have to take with the f pawn, and then this pawn becomes weak. Kind of funny thing. And nobody was playing bishop d6 back then, because it was such an unusual move. Especially in this order is kind of funny. Like if you go here, so you go bishop e7, one of the best moves, h3, and now bishop d6. Kind of funny. It's also a thing also. It's also a thing in London positions sometimes where I had a game in Title Tuesday yesterday. If you go here, they go here. So some people go here, and point is that here you go here, and you don't have the square anymore, because then you have to take with the f pawn, weakening this pawn. So it's kind of a thing. It's kind of a thing in chess, but what we're seeing here is this idea. This is a Kramnik idea. So I don't know if Ding might know this a little bit, because you know also why. Because also he might have been exploring this for white as well. Who didn't? I think everybody explored this a little bit for white too. Everybody explored it. I don't know if I had played it yet. I'm not sure I've played it yet. But I might, because it's one of the ways to play these days in d4. I for sure played this system against Andrew Tang. Similar, often transposes, but this is even more less flexible from whites. Yeah, Kramnik played this basically, and now Arjun Regaisi, he just did the most obvious thing. He took and played bishop c2, and Nepo played bishop e6. Bishop e6, queen c2 though, keep the queens on the board, and there it's quite dangerous. But this endgame is also here. I also wonder why don't we just go to e6. Yeah, computer doesn't hate this. And if we just play here, maybe knight g5. Yeah, white gets the bishop pair, although it's not at all the end of the world. These pawns are always weak. Not the end of the world at all. A massive dilemma. I believe Ding will trade queens. He will trade queens, 100%. No, I'm not sure actually at all if he's gonna take. I think he knows his position a little bit, Ding. He must have looked at it a bit from white point of view. He probably was like, let me see what is this strange thing that Kramnik and Carlson are playing. He looked a bit, he was like, yeah. He probably thought black's fine. Is Richard Rapport still Ding winner second? Yes, Richard Rapport is still his second. No, it's not a draw, it's not a draw. Especially because Guki realized, and Team Gukesh knows for sure, that Ding is not very, these days he's not very deeply prepared in sidelines. He's taking it easy. He's chilling, usually Ding is chilling. So they know that Ding is not deep here, probably. So what they also know is that then if you're not deep and you're a little bit defensive, you're probably gonna trade queens. So they've analyzed this endgame to absolute exhaustion, and Gukesh has played 500 training games here. So it's not like this endgame is going to be a draw right away. No. Gukesh definitely knows how to put pressure here. Definitely knows that. So Ding also knows they analyze the endgame. Yeah, the Ding knows, but yeah. So bishop b3, bishop c4, as you said. Yeah. So it's just not. It's not supposed to work. I'm thinking of the simplest being something like this. Yeah. Let me check it with engine to make sure I'm not saying nonsense. Yeah, this is the simplest and also the best. So you can't even maintain your pawn, and if you lose the pawn, I've got bishop pair and one more central pawn. Yeah, you have a side pawn, I have central pawn. Central pawns usually worth more than side pawns as a rule. Also because when you lost the side pawn, you opened up a rook already. Queen b3, ab, bishop e4, says Erwin Lamy. Yeah, that's also looks very solid. So do you want to then just take it? Okay, here you probably just take with a knight, yeah? Probably just take with a knight. His check is very unpleasant now. And if I allow this doubling, interesting doubling to allow. No, doesn't look bad at all. No, the thing with these ideas, with these kind of extravagant ideas, is that of course, because they are sort of, there are two sides to this story, guys. So if you play these rare, strange ideas, so you're much more likely to surprise your opponent. Of course you surprise your opponent, because the computer doesn't shout them from the start. But the problem is that usually if you play such an extravagant idea, then for a while, every option the black can choose is going to be objectively fine for him. So I'm absolutely sure that bishop e6 is fine. Queen b3, ab, now I'm sure that all of these retreats are fine. At some point you'll have to play well, but at the beginning you can choose any direction you want, and usually you'll be fine, because white has basically, if we see chess as a very objective game, if we see chess from a solved perspective, and then basically what white has done, if you take the spirit, and fantasy out of chess and just look at it as a game of numbers and chances, then basically what white has done is white has played suboptimally here so far. Now if white has played suboptimally, it means that black has more room and more options to maintain equality. So if white plays a perfect game, if white plays very well from a computer viewpoint, then black has less good ways to find equality. So what is a good move? Let's say you make a good move with white. That means that black now has only 5 responses that are fine. If you make a worse move with white, black has now 10 responses that are fine. So it doesn't mean if you make a good move with white you are winning, because you're not winning. Chess is a game where objectively it's equal, yeah, for a while, until you make enough mistakes. But it's so complex that you end up making mistakes, always, as a human. But basically, if you play optimal, it means the opponent doesn't have. So let's say you've played optimal with white and black has played suboptimal, and at some point black has only one way to equalize and reach a draw. But if you do something creative with white, which is not advocated by the computer, it means that black usually has many ways to play. No, optimal play is not Berlin draw. No, optimal play is definitely white pushing much longer than accepting a draw in 6 moves. No, optimal play is maybe Berlin endgame, and then suffering and draw. But here white has already played suboptimal, you know, because at the beginning of the game, the engine set here is 0.30, and here by the position we reached, it says already it's 0.10 or even 0.05. And indeed, bishop e4 is fine, bishop e6 is fine, takes is fine, and after takes, bishop e4 is fine, bishop e6 is fine, and bishop c2 is fine. If you play bishop c8, you're also going to be more or less fine. You get 0.30, the advantage that you had from the start. But you have a position which is new, and one where Gukesh is familiar with ideas and Ding is not. But of course, bishop c8 is not going to happen. Bishop e4, yeah, it's interesting. I was wondering actually about this, such things. I was not so sure. There is some fluidity still to this. Because I have controlled light squares, there is some fluidity to this. I could see myself eventually advancing. But of course, this is mostly nonsense. Bishop g2. Yeah, I was wondering, do you then want to take? Maybe no rush, yeah. Maybe no rush. Computer says h6. Castle. Knight d7. Bishop e7. h5 also, yeah. No, h5 here actually not liked. You have to give the bishop and then quick e4 coming. Quick e4 is coming, and then quick d5 opens the diagonal for the bishop, and white's bishop pair comes to life. When you have bishop pair, you should open the position. That's the famous thing. Yeah, okay, Ding is thinking. So Gukesh has made sure that he surprised him somewhat. I mean, again, this is not even a new idea, but it's rare. And the reason you might think it's poisonous is because the computer says it's all fine. So of course, if you're preparing for the World Championship match with black and with white, I imagine Ding, yeah, he's not going to spend time on this position because it's so fine. And he needs to spend time on a lot of other positions. He needs to spend time on the French that he played. He needs to spend time on his white. He needs to find ideas for white. So you can be sure that your opponent has not spent a lot of time here, unless he's a madman. So that's why Ding is now thinking, and Gukesh is taking him out of book, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. The time advantage is only 25 minutes for now. And if you remember the first game, the time advantage meant nothing. And Ding is it seems that he really likes to think, to choose a direction. I think he can overdo it, but so far it's okay. But I think he shouldn't overdo it. I think he should just take a decision. Ding is a very principled player. But of course, in the recent times, he really likes to get rid of tension. So trading queens is very tempting for him. But on the other hand, he does have this, especially in the opening, he has the urge to try and make the best move. He has a strong urge. He's a very principled player in the opening, especially in the opening. Yes, taking on bishop e4, that was Erwin Lami's suggestion. You can play bishop e4 immediately, right, as well? Why not? Well, actually, but why not immediately, Erwin Lami? No, Erwin, actually, you should play bishop e4 first. It's better. It's more flexible. You don't need to trade queens, actually, because he's not running to c2. And now you can trade, but you can also go h6 first. Actually, that's interesting, because in order to run with the queen, you have to hide only here, but this is very passive. It's better to just wait. Oh, it's probably a very good way for black to play, by the way, this one. probably very solid. Yeah. Bishop e4 probably very, very solid move. Yeah, this was very, very solid. I'll have to check it on the good engine, but I am quite suspicious that this is... Yeah, this is just very solid. Very, very solid. Okay, now you can do this. Hang on. Yeah, I'll need to check it on a good engine afterwards. Interesting positions. But black can actually, black can at some point, at the right moment, trade. So here for sure is the right moment to trade. Question is if white can avoid the trade. But h5 seems strong, yeah. Knight e5, also interesting. Knight g5, also interesting. But bishop e4 is a very unnatural move. I mean, it was not in my system, to be honest. I knew just bishop e6 and trade. I knew these games. Bishop e4 is it's a thing. It's a thing. Bishop e4 actually quite nice move. Yeah, the board's a little bit today a little bit sloppy, the digital board. But of course, Ding finally goes with the safest option, trading the queens immediately, and he's not gonna play bishop e4. Bishop c2. Wow. Wow, this is quite risky. If you don't know, or maybe he know, maybe he knows. He probably, I tell you, he should know this from white. It must be something that it must be something that he likes. He has checked with white. He must have checked with white. It has dings, like he likes such things. Ding likes this. Has he played it actually? Let me check if he has played it himself. This CD 93. He might have. I have a feeling that. Ah, okay. Carlson played it against him. I remember with white. I remember that Carlson played against him with white. But has he played it with white himself? Let me check. Ding, yeah, Ding Friedman, yes. Ding played against Friedman. I had a feeling that I've seen this. I've seen him play this. Yeah, Ding played against Friedman this, but he didn't play Queen C2, yeah. Queen C2 was played by Lazavik, Kramnik, Andreikin, Carlson, Hare Krishna, Yuangi, Maksudlu, Fabi, Jordan van Foreest, Gukesh. Gukesh has played it. Gukesh has played it against Arjun, but in 2021. But against G6 he played bishop g5. He had no clue. He had a different idea in mind. G6 h3. Now that was only played by Kramnik, Yuangi, Maksudlu, and then already lower rated people. Recently, actually, Leila Javakishvili played it in Tbilisi Grand Prix. Very recently. Very recently. This is the last game, and actually quite theoretically relevant. Because in the Women Grand Prix tournaments, sometimes also they have good coaching and they prepare very deeply. So they're often better prepared than a player with a similar rating who doesn't play Women Grand Prix. Bishop c2, yeah. Okay, this is how Arjun played it. Let's see now. This has to be explored. Kramnik played bishop f4 here. Let me briefly explore it. Yeah, bishop f4. No, of course black is very fine. But is Gukesh thinking? Yeah, Gukesh is thinking. He's trying to pretend like that Ding made a mistake. It's a good thing to do, to pretend that your opponent made a mistake. Yeah, bishop f4. Now, so after bishop f4, a few ways are okay for black, but not take. taking is very bad. We already explored it, because if knight d2, bishop just gets trapped, surprisingly. And if here, then you lose the pawn, because this is a tactic. You can't save the rook. So taking on b3 is bad, but it's quite obvious. You don't have to take. Computer suggests all kinds of moves here. One of the top choices is h6, quite wicked. But I think the point of h6 is actually to facilitate the return of the bishop. But you think rook c1, knight d2? No, let me see, wait. h6. Rook c1, no? Ah, bishop e4. Okay, okay. And bishop e4 back. Oh yeah, the bishop. Oh, I understand now. Basically, the bishop is fine here. Oh, I understand now. There's no need to worry. We are not going to take this pawn ever. We are going back to e4 after rook c1 always. That's the point. So basically, bishop c2 or bishop e4 doesn't make a big difference. It's quite safe for Ding, actually. There's nothing dangerous here. He's not going to take here. Bishop is just chilling here, and it's just standing here, and if it will be attacked, it can always go here, and then you argue rook is worse placed here than on a1. That's it. So Ding is just chilling. Knight b7 is what the hand wants to play. But then knight d2. Knight d2. Serious questions. Okay, now it's all clear to me. So it's all clear to me why we go h6. Now here h6, rook c1, g5 is just in time to save the bishop. And the tactic here is that you have got knight g4. But it continues. You lose this pawn after all. You lose this pawn after all. And here you're suffering. Pawn down. No, so actually it's all very simple here. h6 is a very natural move, actually. Although, to be honest, this bothers me a little bit, actually. Takes a rook a7. It bothers me a little bit. Now h6 to facilitate g5, bishop g6. But this would be a question. Yeah, I mean, it's strange, yeah? No, this is a little bit... The bishop is a bit... No, this is a little bit strange. No, h6 is strange. Yeah, knight e4, yeah. Knight e4 is a move. Or bishop b4 also a move. I have to say that Ding has chosen a one of the most risky ways of handling his position after g4. After all. Now I say it because yeah, there are two positional threats. So one is, I don't know if it's threat, but one idea is taking and taking on a7, which is a pawn. And whenever you take the b3 pawn, okay, you equalize the pawn count, but the bishop, it takes you see, it loses more time, because the bishop, what bishop needs basically, it's basically bishop needs h6, g5, bishop g6. Now if you take here, you have to also then go back and then do h6, g5, bishop g6. So you lose two moves on that. And white, by taking here, loses only one move. So this is a bit of a threat. And the main idea in the position is knight d2, actually. The main idea is knight d2, intending rook c1, trapping the bishop, and after bishop e4, f3. You need knight d2 not to defend this pawn, because this is not hanging anyway. This is not an issue anyway. Always this thing works. This is hanging. This always works. But why you need knight d2 is you need knight d2 because you prepare after bishop e4 to trap the bishop with f3. So the main threat here is knight d2, actually. So you can address it by playing h6. Then you have to deal with this. Or you can address it with the move h5 that is just made. Oh, he's freestyling. Oh. Freestyler. Freestyle alert. Ding is freestyling, guys. I think Ding is freestyling. Let me open up my let me open up a big comp. Actually, let me open, you know where? I'll just go to Chessify website because I'm a Chessify ambassador, but also because my computer is it was freezing yesterday. When I used my computer was freezing yesterday because the stream is quite heavy to load, actually, OBS and all that. So if I also open Chessbase with the local engine, it's going to really start freezing. So I will actually, jokes aside, I'll actually take a Chessify engine on Chessify. I'm not going to be showing it to you here because, okay, I'm not like that great of an ambassador, but I am an ambassador, so I'll just check on Justify engine. What is actually going on? Because I want to check this deeply, because I want to make sure I don't. It's not like I can't analyze without engine for 1 minute, but I just want to make sure that Ding is not in his prep. Because I tell you, he could be in prep because he could know this from white, but I don't think so. I think he's improvising. Yeah, he's improvising. I think he's improvising. The compy is not... he's still okay. Still okay, but already has to be very accurate. Okay, I'm going to show you what's happening here. There is sort of a... Yeah. Black's kind of okay, but I don't think he's not in book. He's for sure not in book. There were much better ways than this. Okay, so I'm going to show you what's happening. Guys. Arjun versus Kramnik game. Yeah, by the way, let's see where that game ended. H5 is also what Arjun did. Oh, maybe... No, I don't. The thing is, I don't think that they... I don't think Ding knows the game. I just think that this is just one of the most natural ways to play. One of the most direct, straightforward ways to play. So both independently have reached this position. They have independently made all these moves. Arjun, by the way, played awful. What Arjun played, it was also blitz. He fell for the main trick. Arjun, it was a blitz game. Sorry, it was rapid. World Championship rapid, Team Championship rapid. Arjun escaped, but Arjun just fell for the main trap. So Arjun went bishop b3 here, knight d2, realized the bishop is trapped here, went here, and now realized that b5 is knight b5, and just allowed Kramnik to take, and Kramnik was much better. So Arjun fell for the main trap, understandably, because it was rapid. And the thing is, all these moves are most natural. So g4 takes and bishop c2 looks like a punishment. You assume that, okay, if you know nothing, you think knight d2 comes. But of course, bishop f4. Now you are like, oh, bishop b3, knight d2 is a problem. So you are like, okay, hang on a second, maybe I want to go knight e4. Then you think, aha, no, better to go h5, g5, and then knight e4. Or maybe h5, g5, and knight d7, and bishop to f5 back to get the square for the bishop. So you go h5, and suddenly the guy goes rook g1. We are like, okay, that's fine. Let's just include the takes. I have now the open file. And then Arjun just sort of took. He just was like, whatever. But actually, the way to go here is knight b d7. Now, if rook c1, you no longer can go bishop e4 because the rook has unpinned itself, and now the knight can go knight g5. So rook g1 was also useful from that perspective. Now, after rook c1, you have to go here. But white no longer has this trick with knight takes b5 because the rook can move. Although b5 still weakens a bit, the computer says now maybe rook h4 or some weird stuff. Weird stuff, by the way. This is actually dangerous for black. It's actually dangerous. But if white goes even more ambitiously, knight d2, trying to trap the bishop altogether, h6, g5 no longer there. But what is there is the move rook g8. Same idea, rook c1, g5. Just in time. And now the bishop can go back. Now you don't go back immediately to h7 because after knight f3 this pawn is falling. Bishop h6 is very clumsy there. I'll go rook h1 here and it will lose. So what you do here is you go bishop e4, and only after f3 you go bishop h7. And if white takes, you take you're okay. You've made sure the pawn is not losing itself. So this is still kind of okay. It's kind of okay. But already this, by the way, already this is slightly unclear. Computer also says g5, pawn down, but the light square bishop is a monster. The position is open. Also this position, if b5, then probably you open him up with bishop g2 and then rook a1. Actually, problem, just lose a pawn. So you can't do that. You have to maintain the pawn with either knight b6, then bishop e5 is a problem. You can still beg for equality here. Play this slightly worse endgame. It's very unpleasant because white has a central pawn and you have a side pawn. It's better to have a central pawn. So the best move here is rook h4, very strong move. And if bishop c4, then rook g4. But then rook h1, the rook is a little bit odd. Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, this like, for example, this could be easily Gukesh's prep. Now, what is nice is that black can sack an exchange. That's very nice. So it's not the end of the world at all. Black has a pawn. And after sacking exchange, all these pawns are all isolated. And black already has one pawn, so black doesn't really run much danger here. Should be able to hold this. But all of these things are already sequences of only moves, kind of. Only moves sequences. Otherwise, black is worse. So Ding has played quite poorly so far, and now he's relying on a very, very narrow sequence. He has to, for starters, he has to spot rook g8 idea after 97, 92. He also can go 94. He can go 94. Knight takes. Bishop takes, knight d2. Problem. Bishop pair is gonna be there. Position will open up. Rook h4 is very engine. Yeah, but you can. I mean, if you think for a very long time, you can. It was all what I showed. It was computer lines, but at the same time, I felt it was all calculatable. So if you just are a top player and you think there for 15 minutes, you can reach all these conclusions. If you're patiently taking your time, one by one, you dismiss all the moves and then you find alternatives. Gukesh prep very good. Gukesh prep very good. Yeah. I must say though, Ding's response is terrible. I mean, as Erwin mentioned, bishop e4, for example, or even bishop e6. Like, how bad can it be? I mean, how bad can this position be? Like, really? Even this. Okay, you fall for knight g5, and what? Okay, and what? Okay, play a6 afterwards. Super solid. Super solid. Eventually, these dark square bishops, they're very likely to trade each other. Very likely. How far can you run with this bishop? And these pawns are weak in such a position and so solid. Of course, white is a bit nicer, maybe because of the bishop pair, but so solid. This is one way to play. This is also another way to play. Also very, very solid. How Aaron said bishop e4. Yeah, now this move h6 is strong. It's not obvious to me, but it's strong. Prevent g5. I guess it prevents g5, right? Yeah, it prevents g5. Then just wants to finish development. Extremely solid. Extremely solid. White has a very, very small symbolic plus if he grabs the bishop pair at the right moment, because of these pawns. These pawns, the problem is that it's not like they're going to be attacked anytime soon or ever. Problem is that they make the whole thing very immobile. So what you have, for example, what you have. Let me just demonstrate somewhere here. So the issue with these pawns, so nobody's ever attacking the b3 pawn, but the problem is that you've got usually this minority attack. Now imagine, okay, go here, just to demonstrate the point, yeah. You can't go b5 because of a takes b5. Okay, here I mean computer sacrifices the pawn in some concrete circumstance. Let me just make some other moves just to make sure it's really not happening. Okay, so you can't go b5 because a takes b5. If you had the pawn on a file, not doubled, you would be able to go a4 and then b5. And you would undermine this pawn chain. And then you would take here, and this would be a weakness. You would double the rooks there and put pressure on it. Now this is the weakness, but you can't attack it. I mean, the computer tries it still, but I'll easily defend it. As we spoke yesterday already, the further the weakness is in your camp, the easier it is to protect it. And you can't apply further pressure. Once you get the knight on a5, first of all, I can even take it sometimes, I mean, under circumstances. Or I could just defend the pawn, and you can never get to it. So by having these double pawns, you've demobilized your queenside pawn structure. You can never go for minority attack, and that is huge. So the moment these pawns are safe for black, what are the weaknesses then? I mean, this is also very safe, very solid. Here you also have no targets, also only the f7 pawn. Also not a target. This is also not a target. This pawn structure is so incredibly robust. Imagine I go h5 somewhere. It's so robust. Only two weak points that are back in your camp, easily defendable. So that's why all these endgames are quite safe for black, even if white has the bishop pair. Now here I've misplayed it a bit with white. I just wanted to demonstrate the point. Of course, white would normally try and place the knight on a4 directly, or computer goes to e2, maybe to d3. White still has ideas. For example, one idea white could have, I imagine. Let's just demonstrate it somehow. Just make some moves. One idea white could have is planting knight on c5. And after knight c5, bc. You've undoubled the pawns, but still this the minority attack is still not there. But in this case, what you do have is you have the f3, e4 plan. So white could still be putting pressure. So white still has some ideas, don't get me wrong. But of course, having these pawns doubled is a big strategic downside for white. That will never change also. You can never undouble them. It will forever remain this way. You can only undouble them in fairy tale land if black collaborates and just takes here, but it will never happen. This would be like a big gift, but it's never happening. So all these endgames were kind of okay for black, except the Ding, he went for bishop c2, where you can't get your bishop trapped. Simply get the bishop trapped, that's the issue. Now if you get your bishop trapped, all these strategic considerations don't matter anymore. He has to face now suddenly very concrete issues. I don't understand why. Why did he get here? Why he's facing? I mean, okay, I understand. This looks, white's play looks poor because of taking on bishop c2. I understand that. But the guy's prepared, of course, so there's some point to this. And okay, bishop f4 is the point. Because you think that you need to protect the pawn with knight d2, but you don't. You can go here because it is very rare. It's a very rare idea that the pawn is here. Trying to remember. Yeah, it's strange because it is a rare idea, but queen b3 bishop c2 is something you get also. Ding is very experienced in these positions, coming from symmetrical Greenfield. I've had a game with Ding also back in the day. So there are these ideas also. Let's make some move, I don't know. There are these ideas, they sometimes exist. Especially when knight is on a6. They sometimes exist, these ideas. In some versions of things. The bishop is never trapped. Yeah, the bishop is never trapped because the pawn is never on g4. That's what it is. Yeah, the pawn is never on g4. Now I understand. So let's say what I'm trying to say is, let's say what you usually have is you have such a thing. You have such a thing, and then this is not happening because the bishop comes out. But in the game we have the pawns already on g4. In the game we have the pawns already on g4. And the bishop is just not coming out. So it makes it slightly unusual. That's why Ding's pattern recognition was a little bit off there. That said, he can be fine still, but now he has to find. Now basically now he has to solve a very difficult problem. If he solves it, he will be fine, but it's a difficult problem. It's a bunch of good moves he has to make. He should take his time now. Definitely take his time. He should take his time. Definitely take his time. The thing is that, well, now let's think how Ding. Let's look at Ding's thought process. Okay. Can we swap the colors here, by the way, somehow? No. Must be somewhere here. Flipboard. Yeah. So we're Ding here. So we were surprised, like we were thinking here, okay, let's go h5 because if g5 bishop can come out, or knight e4, anyway, it's a useful thing. Then rook g1 surprised us because we were like, okay, this is good inclusion. Okay, now we're thinking. What are we thinking about? So first we think, okay, what if I make a normal? It was also this bishop b8 a little bit is an issue, yeah, a little bit. So first he's thinking, okay, what if I make a normal move? He's thinking, okay, so can the guy right away attack my bishop? King d2, I just take. So rook c1, I take. Knight d2, I go here, take, e3. He thinks knight b6, bishop e5, he sees. And bishop g7 there. Yeah, it looks kind of okay. G5, knight h5, take knight e4, king e7, bishop c4. Yeah, it's solid, it's not so much. Looks kind of okay. Okay, so he thinks that's okay. Let's say, yeah, he thinks how bad can it be. Then he thinks about, okay, he thinks about knight d2. He also, no, he cannot think about before bishop b4. So he thinks about knight d2. Yeah, and g5 is also stupid. So knight d2. Yeah, he thinks about knight d2. This is now suddenly, oh, knight d2 actually. Wait, knight d2, rook c1 is coming. Knight d2, he might think about g5, bishop g5, rook g8. Then he thinks, yeah. He thinks, okay, interesting pawn sack actually. Bishop f6, knight f6, rook c1. He thinks, no, there's bishop h7. f3, of course, gives black some. Yeah, it's a pawn though. No, he doesn't like to give pawns. He doesn't like it. So he thinks knight d2. What else? Yeah, I don't know, this rook g8, how quickly it enters your mind, this rook g8 move. It's a strange move. It's a strange move. Rook g8. Okay, let's say he doesn't see rook g8. Imagine he doesn't see rook g8. He goes back here. He starts thinking again. Thinks, okay, knight d2 is a threat. He's panicking. He's thinking, okay, knight d2 is a threat. He thinks, okay, knight d2. He thinks, okay, what if I go rook g8? What if I go rook g8? Now knight d2 g5 is great. Wait, first of all, knight d2 g5, yeah, let's say is great, although I can take and take here. No, but rook g8 is also such a strange move right away. If he sees rook g8 here, he'll see it there too. No, rook g8 is a strange move. Let's see, what else is he thinking? Yeah, knight e4 is of course tremendous. Knight e4 is very likely. Knight a6, yeah. Knight a6, yes, is a thematic idea. Definitely. Knight a6 is definitely a thematic idea. Yeah, actually he's thinking knight a6. He's actually thinking about knight a6. Very much so. He's thinking about knight a6. Guys, sorry, I can't collab with anyone here. Somebody says to collab with Chillbase India. I can't collab with anyone. I can't collab with anyone. I'm on my own here. I wasn't asked for any collabs, so I'm on my own here. But it's fine. It's fine. I like also sometimes to have a quiet broadcast. You're basically just looking at the position, at the game. There's no discussion. Knight a6, yeah, what's wrong with knight a6? Let's think. I mean, let's not think what's wrong with it, let's just think about knight a6. Because Ding is not thinking about what's wrong with it, he's just thinking about knight a6. And knight a6 is a very, very natural move, frankly. It looks to me kind of normal. I mean, bishop e5, bishop g7. A little bit worrying, of course, but I think it's okay. Knight a6. What's wrong with knight a6? 6 looks completely normal. Knight b4 looks even nice. Knight b4, sitting there on b4. Knight a6, yeah. I think he'll play knight a6. I don't see why not. Unless I blunder something obvious. I don't see what I'm blundering. You see, chat, what am I blundering of knight a6? Do you see or not? Hard for black to untangle the pin. Okay, that's a fair point. Why do I have... No, it's not so hard. I castle. And the knight can go. I mean, I'm a bit worried of some... But I don't see how. It's also not the end. E4 is not the end of the world. I mean, bishop a6, b8 is not the end of the world. And there are some tricks like that, but I'm in time. I'm in time. I want to take and then I have a check as well. Engine says king d2 of 96. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think it says knight d2, yeah, probably. I mean, knight d2 I thought is maybe the best I've seen so far, but no, king d2 it looks very strange. I don't think king d2 looks very ugly. It's knight b4, knight d4 and so on. No, I think knight d2 you mean. Knight d2 made sense, yeah, that's what I expected. Knight d2, yeah. Knight b4, and now let's think. No, bishop b5, bishop b7, and king d2. Okay, hang on. Yes. Now it's a different story. It's very concrete now. Okay, this I can buy. So let me see. If I take here. Okay, let's see. It's terrible. Computer says it's absolutely terrible. Oh, it's very simple. It's just this idea. Okay. It's kind of an important idea because you're losing on the spot. I didn't feel. I knew that I might be blundering something. It's not easy. It's not easy. I think that everything relies on this, by the way. I think everything relies on this. Everything relies on this. But it's also, okay, not easy, but it's also wins on the spot, so. Okay. Yeah, funny, I didn't see it. And if white plays a stupid move like knight d2, what happens? Yeah, then black is doing very well. Let's see if white makes some other stupid move like this. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there are more issues with knight before. Yeah, there are more issues, of course, with it. The bishop d6 is a big bummer in all the lines. No, knight d6 knight b4 is a terrible idea. Terrible idea. But looks very natural. I think in many positions knight d6 knight b4 is a normal normal way to play. But here, of course, yeah, you do leave this knight a little bit, and the spin is an issue. Knight d6 is terrible. Knight d6 is just losing. Basically, it's just losing by rook c1 cleanest. Because bishop b3 is knight d2. This is just disaster. Okay, not immediately. This is, by the way, the best way to play bishop b3, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted to go knight b4. I thought I'm nicely stable, and there is an illusion of me being stable here. Except there is a small surprise here. Small surprise. Why not immediately? By the way, a5. I have yeah. The thing is that in the end of the line, I'll have knight e4 check, and here I do not. I do not have it. Yeah, I mean the end of the same line, but also even knight d5 here. There with the knight on f6, I had. What did I have? CD knight e4. Yeah. There I had CD knight e4 at least. Let's for fun see what I had there. Yeah, CD knight e4. I didn't see a win here, by the way, because there's no win. The black is just nasty. The g5 first, obviously, and then bishop d6. Yeah, this is important to see. So knight d6 is out. Knight d6 is out. Knight d7, and knight d4. Knight d4 is a move. Knight d4 is also a move. Yeah, the best move probably knight b7. What if a5? Okay, a5 is too much, guys. Don't a5 is too much, yeah. Just way too slow. Yeah. Ding has misplayed the opening. Why that is? Because he has to solve a problem now. See, he is fine because in chess you are fine. You are very often fine objectively because the defensive resources are enormous. But he ended up in a position where he has to solve problems. He suddenly has this bishop that he has to address. The problems here were of a very, very different nature and a very, very long-term nature, and I think it would have been fine for him. And these problems they would be very long-term and abstract. Now he has very concrete problems to solve. Gukesh should be very happy with the opening. And Ding is now thinking. He's not chilling, he's thinking. Ding is not chilling. Let me see, look at him. Is he already shaking his head or not yet? No, he's just very nervous. Guys, I like also the type of position. I mean, for Gukesh, I think that, as I told you today before, I think not going for a crazy game today was a very, very good idea. Very good idea, because there's no need to. If you're down 2, the match could just get over before it starts. But I think that Gukesh is in a better state of mind in general, long term. Is in better shape long term in general. So Gukesh's nerves are temporary. Ding's bad form is sort of a little more long term, I feel. So Gukesh should just recover from a little shock in game 1, and then he will be back as a favorite. I think yesterday we could see that Gukesh is still in a better state of mind. And I think just putting pressure on Ding without burning bridges is a good idea for now. And okay, if there are too many draws happen, then you can always go back to plan A. Yeah, Ding is in serious thought. I tell you, he's very concerned. He doesn't have the engine bar saying that he's still fine. Sorry guys, I have a small little thing that I have to address today. So I was gonna get called about it, but now I'm getting a message about it, so I have to address it. It's a minor thing here. Somebody should visit for a minor house thing. So I just have to keep an eye on it. Got a super chat meanwhile. Why don't you ask Magnus to join you for a bit to commentate, maybe for a game in the future? I'm calling him, but he doesn't take my call. Ding is in a serious thought, boys and girls. Serious thought. Yeah, it's you have to understand that when you're looking with the bar, you don't get the full picture of the gravity of the situation. Here, the situation's gravity is very, very high. Price for moves become very, very high. I mean, for all we know, he makes 96. He's already half lost. Okay, I'm not maybe at my sharpest, but I did, play Tal Tuesday yesterday, so still trying to stay sharp. It wasn't obvious to me that 96 is so bad, for example. Nothing was obvious to me. This line for example. Yeah, this line. It's not obvious to me that it's rook a1 here. It's difficult. Like you think about d5 kind of moves or something, and rook a1 suddenly, and suddenly you're losing here, losing a pawn, and the position collapses because your white has 2 bishops, and light square bishop. It's vital. These pawns are super weak without black having dark square light square bishop, or white having the only light square bishop. So if your pawn count becomes equal in such position, with white having one more pawn in the center, in the bishop pair, it becomes trouble. So this kind of lines Ding has to see. Yeah, they're not obvious. He has to see them, and he has to realize what to do with them. Then, okay, you see the lines. What do you do with them then? Okay, you saw the line, so it was bad for you. Now what do you do? When do you go back? Do you think knight d7 was bad? Do you think b5 was bad? How far you go back? What do you do? Do you panic into some other move? Rook g1 also really h5 rook g1 inclusion. It has tremendously raised the stakes because you can no longer resort to bishop e4 because knight no longer pinned. So h5 rook g1 further raised the stakes. It's frankly another inaccuracy by Ding. Now he cannot go back here ever because knight d2 or knight g5 or knight e5 and f3. So difficult for Ding. Yeah, 94 maybe. 94 is super vague. 94 is super vague. '94 maybe, yeah. How do you choose between 1c4 and 1e4 before a game? If you can't choose between 1c4 and 1e4, I usually just go in the middle and go d4. Looks like Gukesh managed to get his emotions under control. No, Gukesh didn't do anything yet. He just, so far he's reproducing the prep. He's just reproducing the prep. Some discussion about Carlson. Always nice, a healthy discussion about Carlson. Knight b7, the best move. Good move. The good thing is also you make this good move, lucky for him, and the rest he might find as well. And he must have seen a lot, so he must have seen knight d2, rook g8. He must have seen rook c1, bishop b3, knight d2, bishop c4. I am very curious now which one Ding will go for. Gukesh will go for. So rook c1 or knight d2. Very curious. Both are rook g3. Some weird move. Oh, he might go rook g3. Completely confusing. Or rook g3 is epic. What the hell is rook g3? Wicked. You should go rook g3 just to confuse him. Wicked move rook g3. Makes no sense to me. Let's see now. He's still in prep, Guke, 100%. But he has to choose. No, not 100%. So he might be, of course, not remembering this. He might be. But he might also be he might have worked on all of this and he knows all the options and he is choosing now. Because as very often is the case when you are prepared like that. So you know that all these moves are fine for black and you know exactly why they're fine. And you sometimes leave the choice at the board. And you think like, okay, if this happens, I'll choose. So he might be thinking now which of the problem is the hardest for Ding to solve. So there are a few ways. One is rook c1. Bishop d3, knight d2, bishop c4, take e3. So here b5 is the most obvious move. It's a mistake. Not very difficult to see why. Bishop g2, rook c8, rook a1. Not very easy, but in advance you could miss it. Knight b6 is a issue because of bishop e5. Now let's see how big of an issue that is, because I thought bishop e5, bishop g7 is not the end of the world. But it actually is really bad. It is really bad. Yeah, it just looks, knight is awful. Oof. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, so that is an issue. And the best move here is this move, rook h4, which I think is very not obvious in advance. But of course, if you look here at the options, you will spot rook h4 at some point. I mean, there are just, okay, you look at the moves. I mean, you have also knight d5, by the way, is a move very much. But of course, then you're worried that takes and bishop g2 puts pressure on the weak pawn here. You're worried about something like this, and knight bishop c7. And you're worried that white has the strong pawn chain, and your pawns are all weak. They will collapse. Once one fall, they all collapse. So then if you see that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, you see, okay, well, do I have any other move? What if I just give this? Then you're like, okay, maybe there's rook h4. Now if f3, everything is maybe a better version. Even knight d5 becomes a much better idea because there's no bishop g2. Also b5 is there, there's no longer bishop g2. So you definitely, yeah, then you realize, okay, it's a great move. Lucky I have rook h4. And here you think about knight h5. I think the bishop is kind of trapped. Knight h5, yeah, bishop kind of trapped, yeah. So this is one thing. Another thing is knight d2. Now Ding has to find it, but he will, because the bishop is literally trapped. So you might not see rook g8 move earlier, and you don't go knight d7. But if you already went knight d7, you must go rook g8. There's no other move. No, there was this, as I said, there was this pawn sack, but it's a bit absurd. It's a bit absurd. You don't give pawns for nothing. No, rook g8, and you're lucky that after rook g8, rook c1, g5, bishop g5, rook g5. g4 pawn is also hanging, so you're lucky a little bit that this is there. And here we already saw you don't go here because of knight f3, but you go bishop e4, provoke f3 and go back. So this is fine as well. So Ding is actually fine in that line because of rook h4, which is hard, but probably he'll find it. And here because of rook g8, which he will find, he already sees. And then if not these two, there is also this random vague move, rook g3, which nobody knows what the point is. Somewhere rook will come here, maybe. Nicely vague. By the way, I left my Chessify engine run. I don't know. Ding, of course, it could be. Yeah, it's not prep, but the thing is, nowadays you never know. Because if I let my engine run on Chessify, depth 64 now, knight b7 says 0, 0, 0. It says it's completely drawn. It says it's zeros. I mean, I don't imagine that it is prep. Okay, you cannot be prepared and recollect for over an hour. But I think that he's just played well. He didn't play well, I told you. He put himself on the brink of a disaster. And there was only one narrow path to walk. But he found that narrow path. And once you find the narrow path, okay, then all the previous mistakes are forgiven. And then you're forgiven. You reach the forgiveness. Ding's fine. Its position is just zeros according to good stockfish on my Chessify. Knight d2, rook g8, rook c1 takes knight d2, bishop c4. Yeah, this is both are zeros, and rook g3 also zeros. Rook g3 kind of strange move. I don't know. It's a strange move. Poor Guki. He had hopes, but Ding's good, huh? Ding's. Oh wow. So Ding's good, by the way. So what the strong stockfish says, which is the difference sometimes, rarely there is a difference between the strong stockfish and a weak one. This is also even torch, but anyway, they are similar. So in this line, I told you this is bad because knight f3, but strong engine, it says that this is also fine. Knight e4, take, d e4, some pawn sack here, some check, here, here, pawn down. But he says that knight comes here, long castle, initiative, bishop is bad, king is weak. This dropped, evaluation dropped here to zeros also. But at the same time, this is very deep and not obvious even for the strong engine here, which is not as strong as my chess FIDE engine. But this says even this is, the chess FIDE engine says this also is fine indeed. But chess FIDE engine went so deep that it says already that this is fine, but more fine is the other one. He's taking here and plays a5. This is how he plays. And then he wants to trade one more pawn, and he says, okay, white is slightly better. I think this is what Gukesh will play. I think he'll play knight d2. Gukesh should go knight d2. Because rook h4 is totally fine. Totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah. You can gamble on him not, but yeah, once you are here, and rook h4 is not at all an obvious move, but once you are here, yeah, by elimination, you find it. I think you find it. I think you find it. Well, Gukesh is not surprised. I think Gukesh is not surprised, but Gukesh knows that he has options, and that he is choosing between them, and he knows that black is fine everywhere, and he's trying to choose the best one. Or he maybe doesn't recollect this particular position. I doubt though, because this is one of, like, especially lines which are, the thing is that in this line, black is okay in so many ways that you might not be recollecting some of them, which are risk-free for you. Yeah, Ding is not Ding's prep, by the way. This is not Ding's prep. This is not at all the cleanest way to solve the problems from the opening. But it's just he played well. He made one good move in a row, knight bd7. Very good move. It's not that the move is the most natural move, but what it implies that he saw, or he got lucky that they are there. So rook g8, he probably saw. Very, very strong resource. Very strong resource. Of course, the point is that you need to bring bishop to safety. You need g5, and you need to prepare g5, and you're lucky that you have this rook g5, rook g4 in the end, also that you win back the pawn. And he's also, he's probably lucky he has rook h4. I don't know if he already now sees rook h4. Not sure at all, but I think by the time they reach this position, he will probably see it. And also this, by the way, this line. This, according to computer, it's not much. g5. Well, g5 is actually maybe nice. Maybe white could go g5. Maybe white should hope for some sort of powerful domination here. Actually, this is much nicer than the other one. Yeah, I can see white, by the way. Potentially. King e2, f4, rook h1. Potentially, you know, it's very strong pawn chain. This is very weak pawns. But you get pawn to a3, b5, nah. Black must be okay, but it's a bit better for white. But this knight b6 is there, but yeah, rook h4, I don't know if he sees it, but Gukesh has to decide. Gukesh has to decide. Knight d2, rook c1, or this rook g3, I don't know actually. Has he prepared it or not? It's a funny move, rook g3, you know? It's a very, I think it's, at this point, might be your best try. Super, he never will see it coming. Extremely weird move, rook g3. Extremely confusing. Can I even go rook h1? Rook h1, knight d2? Ah, okay, logical, yeah, you don't have g5 now. Super weird. You don't have rook g8 anymore. Super weird. And if knight e4, you take. Yeah, it's I don't know. And you know what's very nice, that after this, look what's very nice. So in this kind of lines, now the fact that rook is here and bishop is here, see, your rook went ahead, so the bishop is now chilling here. It will be activated after f3, but the rook is also active and the view is not covered. If the rook was on g1 in this position, the rook would be passive behind the bishop. Now it's ahead. So rook g3 kind of nice idea to in some complications after bishop g2 to have the rook already in front, because if you get the bishop here directly, then in some lines, yeah, I mean not right away, in some lines, then Also bishop b3, knight d2, bishop c4, knight c4, dc, g5, knight h5, rook a3 check, king d8, rook h3. Rook is doing some action on the third rank. When we had pawn on e3, the bishop was getting trapped in these positions, but here it's not. There are some points. Rook g3, kind of funny move. Oh, knight d2 played. Sorry, chat. Sorry, knight d2 played. No, but then rook g8. I think this. Yes, no. This knight d2 rook g8. Correct. It was only move. And now, yeah, I think objectively this is the best move. Probably Gukesh is in his prep. This is the biggest engine number. Here, engine retains a small number for white. Line goes rook c1, g5, bishop e3. And now, so this engine, the weak one, it says bishop e4 because provoke f3 and then here. And white is a little bit better here. Takes or f3, like even here, like bishop pair, slightly better. Also computers. This one, weak one, says knight f6. But the strong engine, it says that this is very slightly better for white. It says that better maybe to go here. Ding will not do this. Sack the pawn. Because even computer doesn't see it. Only a very strong Chessify engine I have sees it. And Chessify engine is so strong that here it says that this is full equality. But even this engine doesn't think so. Chessify engine is right, of course. But this one will eventually come around to this. But white doesn't risk anything, you know? Black is not like really taking over initiative. Black just sort of has enough resources for a draw. No, it's never gonna happen. He's gonna go bishop e4, like a weak engine. And this is a little better for white. He does have an hour more on the clock. Almost an hour. I'm curious, is he actually... I don't think he's out of book. Yeah, he probably doesn't recollect and chooses. Let me see meanwhile what my Chessify here. Yeah, Chessify engine. So after a massive thought, it says rook c1 is 0, bishop rook g3 is 0, so knight d2 was actually 0.02. And that too, only because of bishop h7. If bishop e4, it says you have a whopping advantage of 0.10. Massive 0.10 advantage. But jokes aside, white does have a little to work with. So in the position which is we're the most likely to get, that's going to be rook c1, g5, bishop e3, bishop e4, takes here. So Chessify engine is trying to simplify further, but okay, weak engine and maybe more human is to keep these pawns bad. But here black is not fully out of the woods, so white does have the bishop pair. And what I slightly dislike of black's position is that this pawn on g5, it's not terrible in itself, but 5 square is a little bit weak. Now, if you want to reinforce this pawn with pawn f6, then the light squares are even weaker. A pawn on g6 is nicer. If it's on g6, it's a little bit nicer, a little bit closer to the body, you control a bit more squares. You reroute knight on to e6, bishop to d6. No one is going to sit on a 5 square. And now white has some ideas. Maybe bishop f2, maybe bishop d2, then e3, bishop d3, bishop f5. Knight a4 before knight c5 was a thing. It's little. Like with lots of accurate play, Ding has managed or will have managed to secure the comeback of the bishop from c2. And basically we go back to square one. We go back to a position that he could have gotten if he just played it more simple. If he just played bishop e6, for example, like that. We have a little bit of a similar situation here as what he got. But he had to go through an entire ordeal of thinking very deep and hard and finding complicated lines. And finally he got to the similar kind of position. Except I'm not even sure that this version is better than the other. I think this maybe would have been even easier to defend. But we'll see. Ding is now chilling, but Guki is thinking. Guki could be a little bit out of book too, no? At this point. Or really not remembering his book. This is the bishop e3, g5 is the same. There's an alternative, f3. g5, bishop g3. But bishop can go back, yeah? So it's no problem for black. Playable endgame, actually, yeah? Playable endgame. Again, this g5 pawn is not bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. f5 square is also really far from being exploited, very far from that. But it's a long term there. Slightly nagging. Now, luckily for black, these pawns are always terrible. Those who are here from the start know that. But yeah, a little pressure. A little pressure. So far, very accuracy perfect. Yeah, of course. No, I think Ding has taken a very unpractical decision of taking bishop c2 and h5. All moves are this bishop c2 and h5 was very unpractical. But then he found the only move to equalize. And it's not the move that's hard, but the sequence. He found knight d7, knight to rook g8. And also after rook c1, there was a very difficult sequence that he probably would have found. Yeah, so now that he's found the right sequence, he's back in the 99% accuracy territory. And now he reaches a position where again price of a move is quite low. Price of a move is quite low again. Looking at my chess, if I stockfish what it says, some funny things it says in the opening. Yeah, in the opening, black had so many options. So many options. Yeah, he's played it Ding has played it in the very suboptimal way, but still is okay. That's chess for you. If you at some point start playing strong, you'll be fine. You will be fine. You will be fine at some point. You understood, yeah, what happened? You understood, yeah, guys? Ding, he was walking on a very wide road. Yeah, very wide road. He could go left, right, but basically it was fine. He needed to go straight. Then he started taking some weird side roads and ended up on a very, very narrow path to reach the place he wants to go to. But then he managed to walk that narrow path, and he reached the place he wants, he needs, and this place is the sequel endgame. It's not equal, it's a bit worse, but it's not a big deal. Gukesh is thinking for a long time. I think he doesn't remember his prep anymore. And, well, if you think about what he thinks about, yeah, rook c1, or this f3, bishop g3, yeah. I mean, you don't get the bishop pair, but you get a very nice, very harmonious setup here. f3, e3, king f2, very, very nice, very chill. Black is a little bit lacking space, I feel. A little bit, pieces are a little bit standing on each other's toes here. A little bit lacking space. But it's okay. It's okay. It being too picky now. Black is just fine here, to be honest. Much more principled is the other thing. Bring it home, Gukesh, somebody says. Oh, this guy Fly, by the way, he was on my stream also back in the day. Let me just check what if I started bishop before. No, wait, g5, knight h5. Is it losing f3? Let me think. Is this bad? Is it bad to go bishop e4 first? Very unnecessary, but is it like bad? I don't know. f3, g5 looks more or less okay. g5, knight h5. Bishop f5 after that. Yeah, I think it's more or less okay. Oh, sorry, bishop g5 maybe I have. No, bishop g5. Bishop g5 is a problem. Bishop g5. Yeah, bishop g5 here is an issue. Threatening f3 and knight h7, knight e4. Bishop g5 is winning. So the thing is, if you start bishop g5, I already knew this. The thing is, knight h7 is very important because you want to trap the bishop. Yeah, you want to trap the bishop. You want to stop g5, but then knight h7 very strong, attacking here. With rook c1 included, you can't do this because I take here. f5. Worst case rook h1 maybe, but maybe best case, yeah, rook h1. Accurate. Even something else was there maybe, no? No, rook h1. Oh, but I don't need to take actually, just, yeah, no, I just take once. This is of course smart. Yeah, just take once, never mind. Yeah, so this rook c1 forces g5, of course, which will come. Bishop e3 and now bishop e4. Again, the Chessify showed this, yeah? This wicked thing, which will never happen. Just bishop e4. Idea f3, bishop h7. Take the square away. Yeah, no, knight f6 back is fine. Also, this trying to simplify, a little desperate, but it works. I mean, if you go a4, white loses the some liquidity, fluidity of the pawn structure. Let's say something like this, something like this, something like this. Black is kind of fine. Play active rook, solid. No problem. No money, no problem here. But I think more human is knight f6 back. I like it more, a bit more safe. These pawns is an issue for white. They're not fluid, so they'll never do any minority damage. No, and get the bishop out. Maybe reroute the knight to e6 finally. This whole bothers me a little bit, but you can't have it all. And it's not enough to claim an advantage for white. Bishop d6, king e7, knight f8, knight e6 is a plan. Trade rooks on the h file. It's okay somewhere. a6 somewhere, c5 could be an idea. Black's fine. Black's fine. Ding's still chilling. Gukesh still thinking. Why am I ghosting the chat? I'm not ghosting the chat. Yeah, guys have something something to complain about? Let's see. Your PC is killing itself to turn off the analysis. Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Oh yeah, actually I will turn off the analysis. It's actually turned off. No, I think my PC is killing itself, not because of the analysis. Because I'm analyzing on Chessify, which is remote, so I think very little energy is spent on that. But mostly OBS, yeah, I'm streaming. I'm running the stream. Single-handedly, this little PC runs the stream. But it's actually, it has, wait, Fn plus Q, auto, silent. It has a silent mode. It's a gaming PC. It was a great PC, except it has a screen issue, and many models have it, of the same model. I know two other people who have the same screen issue. It broke the screen, but the brand refuses to acknowledge that it's their fault. So they just don't fix it, and they say it's your own fault that you broke it. But I cannot be. I have two other chess players who broke the same laptop the same way. It has some simply manufacturing bug, but they refuse to address it. But it's fine. This I just don't close the screen anymore. So this is my home laptop. I just keep it at home, always open. Don't touch the screen. Yeah, I play from here. It's fine. And I have added laptop for travel. It's all good. What games I play in gaming PC? It's chess. It's actually very helpful to have gaming PC for bullet. No, it's not. It's this brand. I've unboxed this PC on my channel once. I've unboxed it. Actually, gaming PC really makes a difference when you play bullet. It actually makes it much more slick. You should try. Alt F4 turns on the streaming mode. Good one. This bishop c7 not a good move. I mean, I guess g5 always is there against any bishop move. Yeah, Gukesh seems to be out of book. Yeah, you can't check all of it. You know how many options are here? The engine says Queen c7 is better for black. You gotta check that too. Queen c7 is a cool move, by the way. g3 bishop f5. It's a transport. Come on, guys. Comp is trolling me. It's trolling me. Maybe 6 g4 is transport. But I could go maybe h5. And there are 1 million options, and these endgames you can get 1 million of those endgames, and all of them are better versions for Ding than the game. All of these endgames are better versions for Ding than the game. So Gukesh got the best endgame version that he could get, and Ding is still fine because he found the knight d7 move. Rook c1 played. No, actually, is it played? Let's see. Reload. No, not played. Should be played though. Should be played. What? Okay. He played g5. He played g5. Oh. But that's not bueno. It's not obvious it's not bueno, but it's not bueno. It's not at all obvious. There were positions where this pawn structure was tremendous for white. There were positions like that. So this is not like lack of positional understanding, because you do you fix these pawns. The knight mostly is out of play, but the issue is that the knight is coming back. G5 was the key when bishop was on g7. It would fully misplace this knight. When the bishop is on f8, knight can come back via g7. The computer says the black is now slightly better. Blunder alert. No, blunder. Positional mistake alert. Knight to g7. If you go bishop g7, which is absolutely terrible, then after e3, your best move is bishop f8 back. So imagine these moves were included. Okay, now not, but like, how do I make it? Because now also rook c1 wins. How do I make it work? Imagine these moves are included. No. Whatever. Imagine these moves are included. g5 would be a good move. You see, white's anyway better. And best move would be bishop 8. But to play g5 with the bishop on f8 is apparently wrong, because now I go knight h5. Bishop goes back to h2, played. And now knight goes to g7. So first of all, this bishop issue is solved. Tremendous. Tremendous. Secondly, the knight on d2 is now awfully placed as well. He's awfully placed as well. What does he want? Let's think a bit. Let's switch it off. Let's try to think a bit. What could he want? What does he want? So let's think. I mean, only thing he could want is f3 e4. There's nothing else. Nothing else to want. But f3 e4, that would be very bad. So he could want something like this, f3. Yes, I wonder a little bit if there's not another tactical oversight somewhere happening there. Rook h8 is there also. Rook h8 probably very nasty. Rook h8 is very nasty, I suspect. Rook h8 is very nasty. Have to move the bishop again. Yeah, because let's imagine I had to go back. How bad would that? That would also be okay. Yeah, it's just bad. I just don't. There's no point. It's just a mistake. I'm afraid to say it's just a mistake. Just a big mistake. Wow. Gukesh is still struggling to find his shape. Massively struggling to find his shape. Knight G7, Ding will find, guys. He is with his understanding of tremendous understanding. Tremendous understanding of Ding. Black's only big issue is a knight. Temporary issue is a knight. Of course, strategically speaking, it's not completely outrageous. He's fixing these two pawns, and this is a backward pawn, so there are, if you trade the right pieces, let me just show you like the, let's just see a bit, yeah, like, what is this position? Well, it is a bit better here, you know. So if you trade the pieces right, let me get some. Yeah, you know, you like one more move. Okay, if you do the right things, just see different positions that exist. You get such a position. This pawn is backward. It's not outrageous. It's not strategically, positionally outrageous to go for g5. But the way the pieces are placed, you understand? The way the pieces are, he played rook h8 first. It's just the same. It's an excellent move. It's just the same. It's just, and then knight g7. The way the pieces are placed here, the knight is now on d2. It's poorly placed here. The bishop is going to be under fire. After knight g7, it's going to be attacked. If it goes here, it's going to be attacked. If it goes here, it's going to be attacked. The bishop lacks stability, doesn't have a clear square. It can hide itself on f2. But when you have a position like this, the h file, yeah, the rook is constantly going to terrorize you here. This pawn is, no, you're just very unstable. At the end of the day, this, yeah, you're just very unstable here with white. You're just very unstable. You have too many pieces somehow. There's the harmony is lacking here. Too many pieces. The knight on d2 is a big culprit. Let's trade these knights, yeah, and see what would be. Yeah, it's still a problem because now this is hanging. Yeah, there's just a lot of issues here. It's not even the knight that's the culprit. It's just there are issues. There are a lot of issues. Yeah, I'm trying to. Is it the H file is maybe the culprit? Big culprit is the H file. Yeah, the H file is a big culprit. Yeah, the H file is the culprit. If I had the H file, it would be okay. Wouldn't be much better because you'd start fighting back for that H file. Also, just no, black is just fine. The pieces are also just a little bit. Yeah, a lot of culprits, guys. A lot of culprits. Basically, the H file is a massive culprit. Pieces are a little passive. Black is just better. Without risk too. Yeah, Ding is playing amazing. Ding is playing absolutely amazing. I mean, queen b3, bishop c2, h5 are only okay if you find knight d7, knight rook g8, but he found them, so it's okay. Okay, I mean, what do you want him to do? Also, g5 is a terrible move. And then he has to go knight h5. What else you want him to play? So it's not like, okay, rook h8, knight g7. Yeah, I mean, he's not. I mean, he's 2800. Yeah, Ding used to be top GM, top class. He knows that you don't put the bishop on g7. He knows you need to bring the knight back. So he goes knight g7 or rook h8. It's the same. What do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? He's being pushed into making good moves so far. He's being pushed into that. What can I do? Yeah, this is, by the way, cool. Bishop h3, knight g7. Take bishop e5. At least you really make sure this bishop is having a square. And that you make sure. But If the bishop would be kicked out nicely, yeah, it would be great, but it's annoying. You can't castle, you can't move the knight. It's highly annoying. Rook h7 to unpin. If he would retreat voluntarily, okay, would be okay, but nobody's retreating voluntarily. He's going to play here. Bishop is very annoying. You can't move the knight. Take the pawn. If you chase the bishop, then you can't anymore castle. You lost the time. You lost the tempo, and the rook is worse here than it is here. Yeah, Ding is better. Ding is just better. He has a better position. F3 played. F3 played, and Guki is the one thinking. That's the problem. That is the problem. In this line that I looked, this one. Okay, can you trap the bishop maybe? No, you really don't. You don't. Takes it takes. You don't trap anything. So and even if black is being very submissive and retreats without winning a tempo, still black is very fine. Yeah, we get this position. Yeah, these pieces are just, they're not, there's no if let's say before knight b6 knight c5 what happened, yeah, maybe, yeah, let's try. Yeah, it would be nice for white. Okay, but they're just not going anywhere. You can't get before. Long castle. The problem with long castle is that you leaving all these pieces somewhat unattended. And rook h2 is going to be very unpleasant. And you have nothing. You don't put any pressure on this one. Knight h7 is fine. I mean, it's okay. It's on standby. e5, always knight f5, bishop f5, knight e6. Guys, I have to go. I'll come back later. Ding is in great shape. See you later, alligator.